What's going on, guys? Troll Pal CHH here. Let's go back to the early 2000s. Today's video is on the Criterion release of The Others. Let me tell you a little story. Back in the early 2000s, the word of mouth was extremely powerful. It still is very powerful today, but back then, if a movie was gaining traction, specifically a horror film, it would travel through every schoolyard, every kid, everybody would be talking about it. And The Others was one of the most talked about movies back when I was in 5th or whatever grade. Oh my God, everybody was talking about it. It was the scariest ghost movie ever. So finally, I rented the film on VHS from Blockbuster not long after that and was terrified. The movie scared the wits out of me. It was creepy, all of that. I hadn't seen The Others since probably 2002 or 3. I used to watch it all the time, even though I was scared of it. So I was so excited to own this. When I was going through my collection, I was like, I don't even know if I have this movie on DVD. There's still a chance I do, but I couldn't find it. The fact that it's Criterion kind of surprised me, but then I thought about it, and I was like, no, this probably is like a Criterion-style title. I can't see Scream Factory putting this out, or maybe Arrow Video, but Criterion seems like the right home for The Others. The question became, after 20 years of not seeing this film, was it going to live up to the memory that I had as a young kid? The answer is not really, but it's not all bad news. Naturally, at 31, watching this film where I know the twist, which I won't spoil in the event that you have not seen this movie, knowing the twist doesn't necessarily take you out of the film on a rewatch, because I would constantly rewatch it again even though I knew. But I really feel like this film, despite the fact that it seems like a very mature, adult-oriented type of horror film, it also is really for kids too, because this movie is about a mom and her 2 kids waiting for her husband to come home from the war that ended, where the 2 kids have what she thinks is a disease where they can't be around sunlight. So they're in this mansion home where every door has to be shut behind it, all the curtains need to be closed, the house needs to be pitch black at all times. It really is set up to be a kid's worst nightmare. You can't do anything, you can't see anything. You're in an old house that makes creaky sounds. Somebody's in the house. Are ghosts in here? What's going on? Back then, I would see the movie through the kid's perspective, and, you know, I would really get lost in that element of it. So I think as you see the film years and years later, you just see it in a different tone than you did when you were a kid. So naturally, that makes this movie not scary to me anymore, or not as invigorating to rewatch. But I do think that this is a very, very well-crafted, well-done movie. And I'm not a big Nicole Kidman fan. I'm not a hater by anything. When I think about Nicole Kidman, I can't tell you what movies really come to mind. As a matter of fact, the movie that would probably come to mind would more likely be The Others, because that's such a part of my childhood. But the movie's pretty simple. She's with her 2 kids. The house is quiet, dark, lonely. She hires some help. But you start to notice that the old maids and helpers that she have, they kind of have something up their sleeve where you get the sense that something's going on in this house. Somebody's walking around in this house where people can't see it. Kids are saying that they're seeing stuff, but the mom doesn't believe it. Are the kids making this up? Is the mom right? You know, you really start to question what in the hell is going on. And then the movie leaves you little hints and clues as you go along. I mean, I do think it's a really good movie. It just doesn't play out the same way at 31 that it did when I was, I don't know, 12, 11. I guess what I'm getting at with this whole thing is, did it live up to what I had in my mind as a kid? Well, really, it's like, well, of course it wasn't going to. But I still think this is a good movie. I just appreciate this kind of filmmaking. There's a lot of commitment that went into this movie, and so for that, I give a big round of applause. And I actually think that Nicole Kidman did a damn good job in this. The whole cast did, quite frankly. So that brings us to getting into this Criterion release. Now, I was super excited, like I said, to get a nice version of The Others, because there's a chance I don't even own it. I know that I don't have a Blu-ray of it by any stretch. If I have a DVD, it's somewhere in this house. But when I got this, I was looking at the back, and I was like, this doesn't specify if there's HDR or if there's Dolby Vision or HDR10 or anything on here. So it just says it's a new digital 4K restoration on a 4K disc. So I was like, that kind of worries me. Is this going to look good? Because usually they'll say, you know, this is HDR enhanced, Dolby Vision, HDR10 or HDR10 Plus, which I don't see too often, but I know that some movies do that. But I was kind of concerned. But putting the movie in on 4K, I gotta be honest, it actually looked pretty damn good. I mean, there was a lot of detail, like right out of the box too, putting this in. I didn't feel like I needed to adjust anything, no brightness levels. And this movie is very dark, but, you know, it's done right. Like there's there's no adjustments that I needed to do on this. Maybe like when you think about like the Friday the 13th 4K, a lot of people complain that the movie just looked really dark. I mean, right out of the gate, you put this in your player. If you got the good setup, it's going to look good. Most of the stuff I have from Studio Canal, like one of my favorite Studio Canal ever did was The Howling 4K. They made that film look like a $50 million movie. I mean, that restoration was flawless. So I probably should have gave myself a little sigh of relief when I saw the Studio Canal logo came up on the front. You know, as a collector, if you've got some Studio Canal stuff, 9 times out of 10, their stuff always is just really good. So, big sigh of relief there. The movie did look really good. I'd give the picture quality a solid 8.5 out of 10. The Blu-ray looked good too. I did pop that on, and plus I had to pop on the Blu-ray to check out the special features. So why don't we go ahead and look at the special features right now? Because there was actually some new stuff on here that was kind of cool. All right, so here's your roster for your special features. A lot of the stuff you'll see kind of down below is a lot of archive stuff from old releases, like recording the soundtrack, photographing the dead, the art direction. But the top one, the Alejandro Amenabar and Pau, this is a new interview that was produced by Criterion, and it goes over the details of this, which was really great interview. And the one that I really liked was the next new feature that they had, which was, you know, we had Nicole Kidman and Christopher Eccleston with the producers, and they talked about the making of the film. So that was really cool. I was surprised I got Nicole, honestly. All right, guys, with all that being said, I went into this video thinking I was going to say one thing, but the truth is, I actually do recommend this release. It is definitely going to look better. I don't have a Blu-ray of this film, but I can't imagine it's going to look as good as this. The Studio Canal restoration was fantastic. Like I said, despite the fact that there was no Dolby Vision or HDR on here, there's Dolby Atmos. So you've got that. There's complete Dolby Atmos for the audio. But, you know, I was nervous. But to be honest with you, the picture looked extremely good. I was really surprised and happy with it. I do recommend either upgrading or picking up this Criterion release of the others. I know that there's sales and things that happen. So if you want to do that, I totally get that. But with new features on here, especially stuff with Nicole Kidman and the director, I think this was a really nice release. And I definitely appreciate the fact that Criterion puts their 4Ks out just like this. No slip things where the movies slide out and their little gatefold things that opens up. My Night of the Living Dead Blu-ray just came trashed. So did my Eraserhead. So I like the fact that with the 4Ks, we just go simple. You know, we open them up. You've got, I guess I'll show this. You've got a little booklet here. I want to make sure there's no spoilers in here. There's pictures of the kids. It's a minor little write-up thing about the movie. And then, of course, you've got your 2-disc. You've got your Blu-ray and your 4K. So, yeah, I got to say, this was actually a solid upgrade and a solid pickup. I was really happy with it. So, guys, I actually recommend picking up the Criterion release of the others. Like I said, wait for a sale if you want to. But if you want to get this, I'll leave an Amazon link down below, guys. A fun rewatch, plays out differently as an adult, a little bit more somber, but still very well made. And cheers to Nicole Kidman. She did a great job in this. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on the others. Did you see this when you were a kid like me? Are you interested in seeing it again? Or have you seen it again as an adult, and do you see the movie in a different light? Thank you guys for watching this video. It's your old pal CHH. I will see you guys next time. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.